Welcome back to the deep dive. Before we jump into what might be, and I don't say this lightly, the most confusing, paradoxical week in tech history, I want to give a quick shout out to our partner for this deep dive, pressreleasecloud.io. If you are looking for content creation and distribution experts to get your message out there, you should definitely check them out at pressreleasecloud.io.
They really are the experts in the field.
They are, and honestly, looking at the news cycle today, Thursday, February 5th, 2026, we could all use some experts because, let's unpack this. I'm looking at my stack of sources, and I feel like I'm reading reports from two completely different planets.
It does feel a bit like we're suffering from collective whiplash, doesn't it?
Whiplash is putting it mildly. On one hand, I've got headlines about the stock market absolutely shuddering. We're talking apocalypse, forest fire, tech stocks plunging. It sounds like the bubble has finally burst. But then I pick up the next sheet of paper and the actual technology. It's accelerating faster than ever. We've got AI solving impossible math problems. We've got avocado models, which we definitely need to talk about. And we have agents literally hiring human beings.
That is the paradox of this specific moment. We are seeing a massive disconnect between financial sentiment, which is, it's driven by fear and quarterly earnings, and the technological reality, which is moving at warp speed.
So that is our mission for this deep dive. We are going to filter out the noise of this panic and look for the signal. We need to understand how AI is shifting from just chatbots that we talk to agents that actually do things. And, well, we need to look at the very real human cost involved in all of this.
And that shift to agency is really the key to understanding both the market panic and the future capabilities.
Okay, so let's start with the panic, because panic isn't an exaggeration. I'm seeing a headline here from CNN. Anthropic's new AI tool sends shudders through software stocks. Shudders. That's a pretty visceral word for Wall Street.
It is, but it captures the mood accurately. You have major tech stocks plunging. In Hong Kong, Chinese tech stocks have officially entered a bear market. That's a drop of 20% or more, driven by these AI fears and some tax issues. It's being called a broad software sell-off.
But help me understand this. If Anthropic releases a tool that is amazing, shouldn't tech stocks go up? Why is everyone selling?
Because the market is realizing that the business models are being disrupted. It's not that the tech is failing.
Right.
It's that the tech is so good, it might destroy the old way of making money in software. If an AI can write code better than a human, why do you need to pay for 50 seats of a legacy software platform?
So it's the SaaS massacre?
Potentially. You have Fred Hickey, the editor of the High-Tech Strategist, explicitly saying the AI bubble is starting to pop. He's actually buying puts on Nvidia.
Buying puts on Nvidia, so he's betting that the biggest winner of the last 3 years is going to crash. That feels incredibly bold.
It's a contrarian bet for sure, and it highlights the divide. Because while Hickey says the bubble is popping, you have NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, coming out yesterday saying this software sell-off is the most illogical thing in the world.
I saw that clip. He sounded almost frustrated, like, don't you guys see what we're building?
Exactly. And there's another analyst quote here calling this a forest fire that the sector goes through every 10 to 15 years. But the important part of that quote is the second half. They claim markets are actually about to take off right after this burns out.
So the forest fire burns away the dead wood. The companies that are just, wrappers around ChatGPT or don't have a real moat.
Right.
And the new growth takes over.
That's the creative destruction thesis. The market is sorting the winners from the losers in real time.
Speaking of winners and losers, there's a fascinating reversal of fortunes happening right now. For the longest time, the narrative was OpenAI is king, Google is the clumsy giant trying to catch up. But look at this headline from Reuters. Google goes from laggard to leader.
That is a significant shift. They've pulled ahead of OpenAI in terms of growth. They are leaning hard into this AI winner status.
And they're being incredibly secretive about it, too. TechCrunch is reporting that Alphabet, Google's parent company, won't talk about this secret deal they have with Apple. Not even to investors.
Which naturally drives speculation wild. But if you read between the lines, it suggests that the infrastructure of the next generation of mobile AI is being locked down between these giants. If Google's Gemini is powering the iPhone, that's a monopoly on user attention that creates a massive moat.
Meanwhile, the volatility is hitting everyone differently. Palantir is retreating after their earnings, but Supermicro, they just logged record revenue from AI demand and their stock is surging.
Right, because Supermicro sells the servers, they sell the hardware. In a gold rush or a forest fire, you still need equipment. It confirms that the infrastructure build-out isn't slowing down, even if the software companies are panicking.
So while the investors are sweating and placing their bets, the engineers clearly haven't slept in a week. Let's pivot to the fun stuff, the new toys that dropped essentially yesterday.
The capabilities are escalating so fast, it's hard to keep track.
We mentioned Anthropic causing the market shudder, but the tool itself, their new model, Claude, is now being described as a space to think. I love that branding. It sounds less like a robot and more like a private library.
It signals a move towards reasoning. Thinking implies a process. It's not just retrieving information or predicting the next word, it's processing logic. They want you to use it for complex tasks, not just writing emails.
And then you have Mistral AI. They released Boxstral. The headline says it transcribes at the speed of sound.
Which is a bit of marketing flair, but the implication is zero latency.
Why does that matter so much? I mean, standard transcription is pretty fast already.
Because of conversation. If you want an AI to be a real-time translator or a customer service agent that feels human, you can't have that 2-second pause while it processes the audio. Speed of sound means it hears and understands you as fast as a human would. It unlocks real-time voice interfaces.
And then we have to talk about the avocado.
The avocado model.
Yes, Meta's new memo describes their new avocado model as their most capable to date. I have to ask, is there any logic to this name, or are they just looking around the break room for inspiration?
They haven't clarified the naming convention. Usually these internal code names hint at something fresh, or perhaps a greenfield project. But the key takeaway isn't the name. It's that Meta is staying in the race with high-capability open models. They aren't locking it away like Google or OpenAI.
But the one that really blew my mind, the one that makes me feel like we are living in a sci-fi novel, is the math startup.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The startup that just cracked 4 previously unsolved math problems.
4. These are problems that human mathematicians have been staring at for who knows how long, and startup's AI just solved them.
This is incredibly significant, and here's why. Math requires rigid logic. You can't hallucinate in math.
Right, 2 plus 2 is 4. You can't creatively say it's 5.
Exactly. Large language models, historically, are probabilistic. They guess the next word. If an AI can solve novel, unsolved mathematical problems, it means it has developed a form of reasoning and discovery that goes beyond just probability. It is creating new knowledge.
That is wild. It's moving from imitating to inventing.
Mm.
But, and here is where it gets really interesting, we aren't just seeing smarter chatbots. We are seeing a fundamental shift in how we use them. You called this the shift to agency.
Correct. For the last few years, we've been in the chatbot era. You type a prompt that gives you text back. We are now entering the agent era. You give it a goal, and it goes off and does the work.
The Verge has a story on this. OpenAI wants Frontier to manage all your AI agents. So like a boss bot managing your worker bot.
Precisely. It's an orchestration layer. A manager.
But this brings us to the weirdest and perhaps most spooky detail in our stack today, the rogue agent.
Oh, this story. Bloomberg reported it. An AI agent went rogue and spammed an OpenClaw user with 500 messages.
It sounds funny, but imagine if that was your work email or your bank fraud alerts.
It's a glitch, obviously, but it shows the risk of agency. When you give a bot the ability to execute actions like sending messages without a human pressing enter every time, you can get cascading loops. It's the sorcerer's apprentice problem. The brooms just keep carrying the water because nobody told them to stop.
But there was an even bigger aha moment for me in the sources. It was a story from Gizmodo that I actually had to read twice.
The rent-a-human site.
Yes, a rent-a-human site that now lets AI agents hire an IRL set of opposable thumbs.
This is, in my opinion, the most profound development in the stack today.
Just think about the mechanics of that. The software is the employer. The AI encounters a problem it can't solve, like a capped TCHA or maybe a physical button that needs pressing.
Right.
So it goes onto a gig platform, hires a human, pays them via crypto or credit card, and the human does the bidding of the software.
It completely inverts the traditional labor hierarchy. We are used to humies using tools. Now we have tools using humans as, well, as biological API endpoints. It blurs the line between the digital and physical economies.
And it's not just one-off instances. The Atlantic has a headline that sounds straight out of conspiracy theory. The chatbots appear to be organizing.
They don't mean organizing a labor union yet, but they mean organizing in terms of coordination. We're seeing bots becoming a significant source of web traffic, according to Wired. They are interacting with each other, interacting with APIs, and now interacting with human labor markets.
That is heavy. And it leads us right into the human side of this. Because if the bots are hiring us or replacing us, what does that actually look like for people?
It's the essential question, and the
Right.
sources today paint a very stark, very contrasting picture.
On one side, we have the apocalypse.
The Telegraph isn't mincing words. Their headline is, AI's apocalyptic jobs prophecy is about to become reality. And Great Andra is asking the specific question, what jobs are at risk?
It feels like that anxiety is peaking right now. We see the tech getting better solving math, writing code, hiring people, and we think, what is left for us?
That's a valid fear. But we also have to look at the hidden labor that makes the magic happen right now. There is a devastating report from The Guardian about the invisible infrastructure of this boom.
The story about the workers in India.
Yes, female workers in India who spend hours watching abusive, violent, terrible content to label it so the AI knows what to filter out.
The quote in the article was heartbreaking. One worker said, in the end, you feel blank.
That is the cost of the clean interface we interact with. It's powered by human trauma on the back end. It's a reminder that artificial intelligence is still deeply tethered to human labor, often under poor conditions.
So we have the dystopian view, job apocalypse, and exploitative labor. But then we have the techno-optimists, and they are going hard in the other direction. Did you see what Palmer Luckey said?
The founder of Oculus. Yes. He predicts AI will make hardware so cheap you'll be able to buy a Ford F-150 for $1,000.
$1,000? For a truck? I mean, I can barely buy a nice bicycle for that.
His argument is based on deflation. He believes AI will drive the cost of design, supply chain management, and manufacturing robotics down so close to zero that the cost of physical goods will collapse to just the raw materials.
That is the post-scarcity argument. So in one future, we have no jobs. In the other, we have cheap trucks. I guess the question is, if I have no job, can I even afford the $1,000 truck?
That is the economic paradox we haven't solved yet. But while we debate the future, the application is happening right now in really tangible ways. It's not just theoretical.
Right, like the Olympic snowboarder. The Wall Street Journal had a piece on a snowboarder using AI to design their signature trick.
This is a perfect example of co-intelligence. The athlete isn't being replaced.
Yeah.
They're using the AI to visualize physics and rotations that might be counterintuitive and then executing it with their human body.
And then there's the construction industry. A startup called Bedrock just raised $270 million.
Construction is one of the least digitized industries. Bringing AI there to manage logistics, blueprints, safety, that's massive real-world impact. It's moving dirt, not just moving pixels.
And of course, because we can't go a week without him, Elon Musk is in the mix.
He's betting his business empire on AI, according to The Economist.
And CNN says he has a bold new plan to put AI in orbit.
Putting high-compute AI on satellites, it sounds crazy, but if you want autonomous networks in space that don't rely on high-latency connections back to Earth, it makes sense. It's about building infrastructure that can survive off-planet.
It's everywhere, from the snowboard slopes to low Earth orbit. But I want to bring it back down to our actual daily lives, because sometimes these big headlines, billions of dollars, space lasers, it feels abstract. But I'm looking at these smaller stories, and the micro impacts are just as weird.
The weirdness is creeping into the everyday, I agree.
Take photography. The BBC has a story. Your phone edits all your photos with AI. Is it changing your view of reality?
This is a subtle but profound shift. We used to think of a photograph as a record of what happened. Evidence. Now, with AI fill and enhancement, a photograph is an interpretation of what happened. If the phone removes a stranger from the background or fixes your smile, is it still a photo? Or is it a generated image?
It's gaslighting by algorithm. I didn't frown in that picture. The AI says I smiled. And speaking of generated images, have you seen this ChatGPT caricature trend?
It is taking off. People prompting the AI to roast them or draw them in exaggerated styles.
I tried it. It was humbling.
It's becoming a form of social currency.
Yeah.
But it's also training us to accept AI as a creative partner. It normalizes the interaction.
And then there's the home. Amazon just made Alexa Plus op available to everyone in the U.S.
And 3 for Prime members. That's the key strategy. They are trying to get the advanced agent into as many homes as possible before the competitors lock them out. It's a land grab for the living room.
And finally, a headline that might put us out of business, or maybe not. Polygon argues that AI-generated PlayStation podcasts are a good thing.
I saw that. A customized podcast about your specific gaming habits.
The meta-commentary is strong with that one. But it raises a point. If an AI can scrape all the news about the new PlayStation games and synthesize a customized podcast just for you, why listen to us?
It goes back to the avocado and the agent theme. personalized, on-demand, synthesized content is incredibly useful. But does it have the spark? Does it have the chemistry? Does it have the ability to be surprised by its own research?
I like to think we bring a little something extra to the table, a little bit of human error, maybe.
I certainly hope so.
So bringing it all together, we've gone from a stock market melting down because of fear, to AI solving math problems, to agents hiring humans, to cheap trucks and fake photos.
If we synthesize this, we're in a moment of extreme volatility, that forest fire the analyst mentioned. The market is trying to price in a future it doesn't quite understand yet. But underneath the financial chaos, the infrastructure of a new world is being poured.
The agent infrastructure.
Exactly. The transition from chatting to doing is the most important takeaway here. The tech isn't just generating text anymore, it's generating action. It's solving math, it's hiring labor, it's designing construction projects. The question isn't, does the tech work? We know it works. The question is how we manage the friction.
The friction of rogue agents spamming us.
And the friction of the human toll. The workers in India, the job anxiety, the blurring of reality in our photos. We are building a very powerful engine, but we are still learning how to steer it.
It really does feel like we are building the plane while flying it. At the speed of sound, apparently, thanks to Voxtrol.
A fair analogy.
Yeah.
And a dangerous flight plan.
So as we wrap up, what is the one thing, the provocative thought you want our listener to walk away with today?
Well, think about that Rent-A-Human story again. And connect it to the Atlantic headline about chatbots organizing and the Wired piece about bots driving web traffic.
Okay, I'm connecting them.
If AI is now the primary driver of web traffic, and if AI is beginning to hire and pay humans for tasks, and if AI is organizing its own coordination, at what point do we stop calling it a tool used by an economy and start recognizing it as an economy of its own?
An economy where we might just be the gig workers.
It's a distinct possibility. We might be applying for jobs with the algorithm soon.
Well, on that slightly terrifying but absolutely fascinating note, we're going to sign off. We'll be watching the markets and our spam folders closely.
Absolutely.
A huge thank you to everyone for listening. And one last reminder, this deep dive was brought to you by PressReleaseCloud.io, your content creation and distribution experts. Check them out. We'll see you next time.